Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. The most dangerous men are not the loudest in the room. They're the ones quietly watching, remembering everything and saying nothing. That's not just a quote, that's a warning. And odds are, you've already met him. He didn't stand out, he didn't overshare. He probably gave you just enough words to be polite, then vanished into the shadows before you even realized the conversation ended. Here's a fact. Studies show people who are socially withdrawn but mentally active often rank highest in strategic thinking and self-governance. Translation: the man who says the least often sees the most. Welcome to the double life of the Sigma male, where the public persona is mild, sometimes forgettable, even charmingly awkward. But behind closed doors, he's 10 steps ahead, plotting moves you won't see coming until it's too late. This isn't your average introvert story. No, the Sigma male doesn't just avoid crowds, he decodes them. He doesn't hate people he just doesn't trust them with the truth. And the best part? Most folks don't even know he's running dual software. One version for show, and the real one encrypted. Stick around, because once you understand how this man operates in silence, you'll realize you've probably underestimated him your whole life. And trust me, he prefers it that way. Number one, he has a social exit strategy in every conversation. He doesn't go into conversations the way most people do, relaxed, open, maybe even hoping to connect. No, a Sigma male walks in already calculating how to get out. The moment the first "hey, how are you" hits the air, he's scanning the room for escape routes. He's not panicking or socially anxious. He just doesn't want to be there longer than he has to. Every interaction feels like a mission, and every mission needs a clean exit. The smile, polished, the eye contact, just enough to look normal. But his mind, busy looking for signs it's safe to leave. This is what people don't get about him. He's not rude, he's not cold. He's just wired to conserve energy. Conversations cost him more than they do others, not emotionally, but mentally. He has to pretend to care about things that bore him, hold back his real thoughts, and play the social game with people who are still figuring out the rules. That's exhausting. So the exit strategy becomes second nature. He'll ask you a question, not because he cares about the answer, but because it keeps you talking long enough for him to slip away without making it awkward. He doesn't fake emergencies. He doesn't dramatically walk off. He disappears like smoke, politely, strategically, and without a trace. Most people don't even realize he's gone until someone says, "Wait, where did he go?" And by then, he's already on his way home, decompressing in silence and recharging from what felt like hours of emotional small talk. It's not personal, it's pattern. If a conversation offers depth, honesty, or a rare sense of authenticity, he'll stay. He'll even drop the act. But the moment it turns into a performance, he's mentally packing his bags, and once he's gone, good luck getting him back in. He doesn't do second rounds of meaningless talk. He knows what it costs, and he's not willing to spend that kind of energy twice. So next time you see him nodding quietly in a group, just know he's not zoning out. He's scanning for the nearest emotional exit. And once he finds it, he'll vanish like he was never there in the first place. Number two, he's more honest with strangers than his inner circle. This throws people off, but it's the truth. A Sigma male can have the most honest, unfiltered conversation with someone he just met, and still stay emotionally guarded around his closest friends or even his own family. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that he cares too much, and he knows what happens when people start thinking they know him. Strangers don't have emotional leverage, they can't use his words against him. There are no years of history, no guilt trips, no subtle power games. Just a clean interaction, no strings attached. With strangers, he can drop raw thoughts, controversial opinions, even painful truths, because there's no long-term consequence. If the other person doesn't get it or reacts poorly, fine. He walks away and never sees them again, but with his inner circle, there's baggage, expectations, reactions he'll have to manage for weeks. People close to him tend to hold on to things, twist them, bring them up later, sometimes to shame, sometimes to control, and sometimes just to feed their need to feel in the know. He hates that. That's why he becomes vague and cryptic around people who claim to know him best. Not because he's hiding something sinister, but because he's protecting the last bit of peace he has. He doesn't want his feelings turned into someone else's weapon. He doesn't want his struggles repackaged as gossip. And most of all, he doesn't want to give anyone a blueprint to his mind, because once they have it, they'll try to change it, fix it, or use it. So yeah, the guy who seems distant at home might open up to a cab driver or a random person at a bus stop. Not because he trusts them more, but because he doesn't have to trust them at all. That freedom to say what he wants and walk away untouched is rare. And that's exactly why he values it more than any forced heart-to-heart with someone who's already decided who he's supposed to be. Number 3, he uses social events to study people like a wildlife documentary. When a Sigma male shows up at a social event, people assume he's just being quiet, maybe shy, maybe antisocial. But he's not just standing there. He's collecting data like it's a science experiment. Every conversation, every body language twitch, every fake laugh, he's watching it all. While everyone else is busy performing, he's the invisible observer, tracking the real dynamics behind the scenes. Who's trying too hard to impress? Who secretly dislikes who? Who's pretending to be confident but is actually spiraling inside? He sees it, all of it. He's not there to socialize. That's just the cover story. In his mind, he's running a live behavioral study. He watches how people move when they lie. He notices who always interrupts and who subtly controls the room without saying much. He reads micro-expressions, tone shifts, and those little social power plays that most people miss because they're too busy trying to fit in. To him, it's not just small talk, it's intel, and the more fake the event, the more interesting it gets. He thrives in rooms full of ego and performance because those are the easiest to decode. He doesn't engage unless he wants to, and even when he does, it's usually a test. He'll say something slightly offbeat just to see how people react. It tells him everything about their insecurity, intelligence, or desperation for approval. It's never random. He's not just awkwardly floating through the night. He's processing, evaluating, and storing info for later, not to manipulate, but to understand who's real and who's just noise. And what's wild is most people walk away from him thinking he's the quiet one with not much going on. They don't realize they've just been studied like lab rats. By the end of the night, he's mapped the entire social hierarchy of the room. Who leads, who follows, who's bluffing, and who's quietly powerful. He leaves without needing to prove anything, say much, or post it on social media. But he walks away knowing more about the people in the room than they know about themselves. That's how he operates. Silent, observant, surgical. Not for fun, for clarity. Number 4, his public persona is a decoy to protect the real one. When people meet a Sigma male, they often walk away thinking, nice guy, a bit quiet, nothing special. And that's exactly how he wants it. The version he puts out into the world is carefully constructed to be unremarkable, harmless, the kind of man you forget 10 minutes after talking to him. Not because he's lacking personality, but because the personality he shows publicly is a deliberate decoy, a soft mask built to keep people far, far away from the real version hiding underneath. He knows how people operate. The louder, flashier you are, the more people poke around. The more attention you draw, the more people think they're entitled to your thoughts, your time, your secrets. And the Sigma male? He has no interest in being known like that, so he plays it safe. He acts average on purpose. His words are neutral, his demeanor is calm, and his energy is dialed just low enough to not trigger curiosity. You think you've met him, but you've only seen the storefront. The real inventory is locked in the back, heavily guarded and non-refundable. This public version of him might laugh at your jokes, ask surface-level questions, and play along with whatever vibe the room demands, but none of it means anything. It's camouflage, a digital avatar in the real world. And if you start getting too close, he'll retreat or pivot the energy so fast, you won't even realize you were being rerouted. It's not deceit, it's survival. He's learned that once people get a taste of the real him, the sharp thoughts, the quiet fire, the emotional depth, they either want to control it, compete with it, or tear it down, so he keeps it hidden. Not because he's afraid of who he is, but because he's tired of defending it. He's not mysterious for the sake of being cool. He's just done explaining himself to people who lack the range to understand him anyway. The public persona is the firewall, bland enough to not raise alarms, polite enough to avoid suspicion, and forgettable enough to protect his peace. You think he's simple? That's intentional. You think he's not that deep? That's cute. What you're looking at is a walking decoy. The real story is buried, silent, and far more dangerous than you'll ever realize, unless he wants you to. And chances are, he doesn't. Number 5, he lets people misjudge him. It keeps him free. The Sigma male has zero interest in clearing up misunderstandings about who he is. You think he's cold? Cool. You think he's shy? Sure. You think he's arrogant, boring, weird, or distant? Even better. He lets those assumptions sit there like traps, not to catch people, but to filter them. The more someone misjudges him and walks away, the less energy he has to waste explaining himself to people who were never going to get him in the first place. That's not self-sabotage, that's strategy. He knows most people crave validation. They want to be seen the right way, to be liked, understood, accepted, but not him. He gave up on that game a long time ago. He realized early that the more people understand you, the more they try to access you, emotionally, mentally, sometimes manipulatively. So if someone takes one look at him and decides he's not worth the time, he counts it as a win. That's one less person trying to read his mind, drain his time, or hijack his energy. Letting people misjudge him also gives him the upper hand. They underestimate him, talk freely in front of him, and drop their guard because they don't see him as a threat. And while they're busy assuming he's gathering data, drawing lines, and mentally sorting people into categories, loyal, fake, power-hungry, useful, irrelevant, every wrong assumption about him becomes a free pass to move through the world undetected. The beauty of it all? He doesn't flinch when people mislabel him. He doesn't rush to defend himself or explain his actions. He watches quietly as they box him in, smile politely, and think they've figured him out. Deep down, he knows he's 5 layers deeper than what they're seeing. He knows that the version they're judging is just a hologram, projected to keep the real one untouchable. So when someone calls him too quiet, too private, too complicated, he doesn't argue. He nods, maybe even agrees, because he knows what they don't. The more wrong you are about him, the safer he is from your influence. Misjudgment is his armor, and freedom, that's the reward. Number 6, he plays dumb to avoid unwanted authority. A Sigma male is rarely the loudest voice in the room, and that's not because he lacks intelligence or confidence. Quite the opposite. He knows exactly how capable he is, and that's exactly why he hides it. The moment people find out he's sharp, strategic, or unusually competent, they start assigning him roles he never asked for. Leader, fixer, advisor, peacemaker. Suddenly, his time isn't his anymore. His mental energy gets hijacked by other people's problems, and he hates that. So he plays dumb. Not because he is dumb, but because he's smart enough to know what happens when others see your full capacity. He's the guy who lets someone else take the lead in group projects, even if he could run circles around them. He'll let people explain obvious things to him just to keep the spotlight off. He'll stay quiet in meetings, play the quiet observer card, and nod while others make half-baked points, all while he's 3 steps ahead in his head. Why? Because pretending to be average gives him freedom. It keeps people from pulling him into their chaos. And most importantly, it gives him full control over his own time and decisions. He's not interested in being anyone's hero. He knows that once people see you as highly competent, they start expecting you to carry their weight. Suddenly, you're the guy everyone runs to when things fall apart. And he didn't sign up for that. He's not here to manage egos, mediate conflicts, or save sinking ships. He's here to move through life on his own terms. And that requires staying under the radar. The irony is, while everyone's trying to prove how smart or skilled they are, he's deliberately doing the opposite. Not out of insecurity, but out of strategic withdrawal. He'd rather let others believe he's just average if it means no one's micromanaging him, assigning him tasks, or dragging him into social power plays. That's not weakness. That's silent dominance. He's playing a deeper game. And most people don't even realize they're being outmaneuvered by the quiet guy who doesn't say much. Because when you're underestimated, you're unbothered. And for a Sigma male, that's the ultimate power. Number 7, he's not lonely alone. He's exhausted around people. Being alone isn't some punishment for a Sigma male. It's the reward. That's where he actually breathes. That's where his brain resets and his peace returns. It's not that he hates people, it's just that being around them, even for short periods, feels like running a system in the background that eats up all his bandwidth. Every interaction, even the mild, casual ones, comes with an invisible price tag. He has to nod when he doesn't agree, laugh when it's not funny, engage in the ritual small talk where no one says anything that matters. It's not fear. It's not social anxiety. It's boredom on a cellular level. He's not lonely in his solitude. He's finally free from performance. Around people, it feels like he's on a stage with a script he didn't write and zero interest in performing. He has to manage energy, read social cues, filter his thoughts and tone himself down. Also, nobody feels weird around him. It's exhausting, not because he can't do it, but because he's done it so often that now he sees straight through it. Most people don't say what they mean. They posture, they exaggerate, they spin truth into whatever version makes them look better. And the Sigma male, he sees the performance and it drains him. That's why he disappears after social events. Not because he's sulking or being cold, but because his internal battery just flatlined. He's been quietly processing every tone shift, every fake smile, every subtle ego battle happening between people who think they're being smooth. That kind of constant psychological decoding burns him out faster than any job ever could. So when he's alone, it's not silence, it's clarity. He's not cut off. He's finally reconnected. His thoughts line up. His creativity flows again. He doesn't have to translate himself into something more palatable or deal with people trying to pull him into emotional theater. That solitude isn't empty. It's sacred. And the people who don't get that, they're the ones who confuse his peace with loneliness, because they've never had a moment to themselves that didn't feel like punishment. He doesn't need company to feel alive. He just needs silence not to feel drained. Number 8, he manipulates people without malice, just efficiency. A Sigma male doesn't walk around trying to dominate or deceive people. That's too loud, too messy, and frankly beneath him. But when he needs something handled, he's not going to sit around hoping others magically get it. He'll quietly move the pieces, no shouting, no drama, no chessboard theatrics, just precision. He knows exactly which string to pull to get the result he wants. And most of the time, you won't even realize you were nudged. It's not malicious, it's tactical. He doesn't do it to control people, he does it to avoid unnecessary friction. If getting you to do something the long way requires a conversation, an argument, or fake smiles, he's going to take the shortcut. Maybe he'll let your ego think it was your idea. Maybe he'll walk away and let silence bother you just enough to make a move. Maybe he'll drop a perfectly timed comment that seems innocent but reshapes how you view a situation. That's not manipulation in the dirty, toxic sense. That's social engineering done with surgical elegance. He doesn't waste energy trying to convince people. He reroutes their resistance instead. If someone's stubborn, emotionally reactive, or too proud to listen, he's not arguing. He's adapting. He knows people are mostly driven by emotion, insecurity, and ego, so he works with those forces, not against them. He'll never force a door open. He'll just slide through the crack you didn't notice. The funny part? People walk away thinking they made the decision, they had the insight, they saw the truth. That's how smooth he is. Because to him, the best move is the one you never see coming. He's not interested in being credited or praised. He's interested in results. The cleaner, the quieter, the better. This kind of influence confuses people. He's not loud, not persuasive in the traditional sense, not charismatic in a salesy way, but outcomes shift around him. Energy changes, people adjust. And that's no accident, that's by design. He's not manipulating to control, he's redirecting to conserve his time, his energy, his peace. And if bending reality a little gets him out of chaos, he'll do it neatly, efficiently, without blinking. Number 9, he tests people without them knowing. The Sigma male isn't the type to ask outright, hey, how do you handle stress? Or how do you react when things don't go your way? No, he doesn't need to. He's much more clever than that. He'll drop a subtle contradiction into the conversation or challenge an unspoken rule just to see how you react. It could be something small, like lightly disagreeing with a widely accepted opinion or shifting the narrative just enough to see if you stumble. Why does he do this? Because he doesn't believe in surface-level connections. He's not looking for people to agree with him or confirm his beliefs. What he's really after is a glimpse into how someone handles discomfort, pressure, and challenge. If you fold when the conversation takes an unexpected turn, if you try too hard to play it safe, or if you get defensive and fake, he'll notice. And he'll know you're not someone who can handle real depth. If you can't even deal with a small contradiction, how will you respond when life hands you a real curveball? This isn't about pushing buttons for sport, it's a test, but it's not a cruel one. It's more like a mental calibration. He wants to know if someone can hold their ground when things aren't perfect, if they can think on their feet, and if they have the mental flexibility to deal with unpredictability. The Sigma male values authenticity above all else. So if someone cracks under a little pressure, he knows they're just pretending to be something they're not. People who can't handle subtle challenges are often the same ones who can't hold it together when life gets real. And that's a deal breaker for him. The beauty of it, most people don't even realize they've been tested. They walk away thinking it was just another conversation, unaware they've shown their true colors. But the Sigma male, he's already made his assessment, filed it away, and moved on. He doesn't need to say anything because he's learned exactly what he needed to know. No big reactions, no grand gestures. Just a quietly calculated judgment on who's worth his time and who isn't. Number 10. He's a ghost with purpose. You see him when he wants you to. A Sigma male doesn't just ghost people on a whim. It's a calculated move. He has the ability to disappear from a situation, social group, or even online, as if he never existed in the first place. No drama, no announcements, just silence. People will wonder, search, and reach out. But he's gone. And it's not out of laziness or to make people chase him. It's because his absence has purpose. He vanishes when he needs to, when it serves his agenda, when the energy around him has become unnecessary, or when he's simply not interested in interacting. It's an art form. He's not the person who stays in the loop just because everyone expects him to. He doesn't need to prove anything by being available. But when he comes back, it's on his terms. Whether it's a social event, a text, or a meeting, his reappearance is precise. He re-enters the scene for a reason, and you can be sure that reason has been carefully considered. It could be to steer a situation, offer insight, make a critical decision, or even just to shift the energy in the room. He doesn't return because he's bored or craving attention. He only shows up when he has something to contribute or when the moment demands his presence. It's surgical, not impulsive. It's not a game. It's strategic. His absence serves to remind people of his value. When he's gone, it's like a vacuum. People feel the void and start paying attention. And when he returns, it's not to reclaim what was never truly his, but to assert that he holds power over the flow of his own existence. He has mastered his time, his energy, and his social presence to the point where he can disappear entirely. And when he chooses to re-enter, it's with unmatched clarity and intention. That ability to vanish without a trace is a unique form of control. It's not loneliness, it's peace. It's not detachment, it's precision. It's knowing that your presence, when properly timed, means more than just showing up for the sake of it. Everything a Sigma male does, including his absences, is wrapped in intentionality. And if you can't understand that, well, you're not supposed to. It's part of his quiet, calculated mastery of his world. Number 11. He's building an empire privately while people think he's just quiet. The Sigma male is the master of working in the shadows. To the casual observer, he might appear passive, quiet, or just a guy who seems like he's doing his own thing without a clear purpose. People might assume he's aimless, going through life without a grand plan. What they don't realize is that while they're caught up in their own drama and noise, he's quietly constructing an empire. It could be a business, a personal project, or a complete reinvention of himself. Something that, when revealed, will shake the very foundation of what they thought they knew about him. He doesn't feel the need to broadcast his ambitions, to tell everyone his next big move, or to share his journey on social media for validation. He doesn't need constant praise or attention while building. The work he's doing is deeply personal, calculated and strategic, designed to take shape in a way that's too big for anyone to ignore once it's done. He's not rushing to show the world his plans, nor is he seeking approval. His empire isn't about external recognition. It's about creating something substantial and lasting, something that only he truly understands at this point. Everyone around him sees a guy who shows up, does what he has to do, keeps a low profile, and doesn't share much. But while they're busy underestimating him, he's stacking knowledge, building networks, honing his skills, and slowly assembling the pieces of something that will be game-changing. He's like a quiet storm, gathering strength behind the scenes until it reaches a point where he's ready to unleash it. When the time is right, people will look back and realize they were too busy writing him off as quiet to see what was really happening. When his empire is finally revealed, it will be like flipping a switch. People will wonder how they never saw it coming, and that's the point. He never wanted them to. He's not in it for their approval or attention. He's in it to quietly reshape the world around him, and when it's done, they won't be able to deny the power he's built. The Sigma male doesn't make noise while building. He lets his results do all the talking. Number 12, he performs social camouflage, not connection. A Sigma male isn't interested in fitting in for the sake of companionship. He's playing the role of an observer, a silent participant in the social scene. In public, he doesn't necessarily engage in deep conversations or forge connections. Instead, he's more like an undercover agent, adapting to his environment. He mimics the expected social behavior, responding just enough to blend in, to avoid standing out. His interactions are purposeful but superficial, like a well-rehearsed performance designed to maintain his anonymity. He doesn't care for small talk or forced pleasantries. He's only going through the motions to keep himself under the radar. While everyone else is out there trying to connect, network, or make a lasting impression, the Sigma male isn't invested in any of that. He's simply maintaining his cover. The more people think he's just like everyone else, the less they'll know about who he truly is. Most of the time, people can't tell that he's even performing. He's that good at disappearing in plain sight. It's a unique form of social camouflage, his ability to mirror normal behavior without getting emotionally involved or giving away his true nature makes him stand out by blending in. He avoids the discomfort of fake connections by keeping everything surface level. This way, he's able to retain control, observe others without them ever catching on, and walk away from any situation unscathed with exactly what he wanted: zero attention and complete emotional distance. In the end, the double life of a Sigma male is not just about mystery or secrecy. It's about mastery. It's about owning the art of control, creating space between his public persona and his private pursuits, and understanding that real power lies in what is unseen. His absence is calculated, his silence purposeful, and his every move is deliberate. While others chase recognition and approval, the Sigma male quietly builds, observes, and perfects his own world. He isn't concerned with validation or titles because he knows that true influence doesn't need to shout to be heard. It simply is. He is the quiet force, the one who lets his actions speak for themselves, and when his empire rises, it will do so not with fanfare but with undeniable impact. In a world that thrives on noise, he remains a ghost with purpose, a strategist whose power lies in his ability to move unnoticed until it's time to reveal what he's truly capable of. The beauty of the Sigma male's double life is that it's not for anyone else's consumption. It's for him, a journey that blends solitude with purpose, silence with power, and restraint with calculated mastery. So while others may see him as passive, indifferent, or quiet, those who understand know that he's simply waiting for the moment when his presence matters most, when everything he's been building, quietly and privately, is finally ready to be unleashed. And when that moment comes, it won't just be noticed, it will be remembered. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the Sigma male's double life, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Drop a like if you found these insights intriguing and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you know someone who lives like this? Share it with them and let's start a conversation. The world of Sigma males is full of layers and I'm just getting started. So hit that bell icon to stay in the loop because the best is yet to come.